250 ethnic groups with different cultural upbringing. Approximately 500 languages. They live together in harmony. Nigeria, our strength in our diversity.
Nigeria's pride, our culture, our heritage. A nourishing variety of songs and dances. A massive array of different peoples and cultures living as one. A grasping kaleidoscope of the gifts of nature. An intimidating gallery of arts and treasures. A stimulating arena of festivals and carnivals. These are but samples of what make Nigeria a tourism paradise. Nigeria's pride.
Executive Council approves feasibility study and conceptual design of Abuja Rail Mass Transit Network for the Federal Capital Territory.
There's a provision of 280 million in the 2014 FCT statutory appropriation for the project.
In continuous voter registration as it holds its first sensitization rally.
National identity card.
And as the second extension of the initial state of emergency in the 3 northeastern states expires this Thursday, focus on implications and impact of further extension of the state of emergency.
All right, at plenary sitting yesterday, members of the Senate could not take a decision on President Jonathan's request for further extension of the state of emergency rule in those 3 northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. Now, today, the 2 chambers of the National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps, will be reconvening today, while the Senate will continue deliberations on whether or not to approve the President's request for another 6 months. Now, the 3rd tranche of the state of emergency expires today, Thursday, the 20th of November.
The President's request was sequel to the expiration of the 6-month extension earlier granted by the National Assembly on the 21st of May this year.
Indeed, following persistent attacks by the Boko Haram sect, the 3 northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe have been governed under a state of emergency, which has been partially administered.
The affected states have been under emergency rule for 18 months now, and in spite of this, the attacks on the communities and the killing of innocent persons continue unabated.
Indeed, Kingsley, the devastation inflicted on especially the vulnerable groups, including women, children, in fact, the resort to abduction of minors, use of young women as suicide bombers, and the continued displacement of millions of people from that part of the country, from their country homes, have become a national and international burden. Now, a reason for the different reactions to Mr. President's request for extension of state of emergency for the third time. Center of it all, Governor Kashim Shettima of Borno State says the extension of emergency rule is in order, and he is reported to have asked for full implementation of the rule. Now, our conversation on Good Morning Nigeria today will focus on this latest request for extension of the emergency rule for another 6 months by the president and probable impact on insurgency in the country. I am Claire Adelabu Abdurrazak, thanking you for joining us on the program.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. Today's package will also review the performance of the Super Eagles in the 2015 AFCON qualifiers. The Super Eagles failed to fly higher than the South Africans yesterday in the Nest of Champions at Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. That took place yesterday. Indeed,
Kingsley, it only means that the Super Eagles will relinquish their title without a fight. And in a very sad way, I must say. Well, I guess we'll take succor in the fact that sometimes you win and at other times you lose.
Well, the Super Eagles by yesterday played 6 qualifiers, won 2, drew 2, and lost 2. A mediocre output, no doubt about that. And the signs were always there at the World Cup 5 months ago, where the Super Eagles, of course, could hardly fly higher than they were expected to do.
Yes, of course, Kingsley. We have that will be coming up. We'll be looking at business news, sports, developments on the foreign scene, but of course we'll take our newspapers review, and Baya Toibi will be joining us. But right now we join Ronke Kolawole, who I'm very, very sure that she didn't watch that match yesterday. Ronke, did you?
I did, and I must tell you, Claire, it was harrowing that Nigeria crashed out of the qualifiers. It could be adduced to so many reasons, but it is a pointer to the fact that all the stakeholders in that sector should put aside their differences and join hands to ensure that soccer gets to the rightful place in this country.
That's right, Thank you.
Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to the news. The Federal Executive Council has approved the contract for consultancy services for the feasibility study and conceptual designs of lots 4, 5, and 6 of the Abuja Rail Mass Transit Network for the Federal Capital Territory. This formed a major decision taken by the Council at its meeting. The Council meeting, chaired by President Goodluck Jonathan, while approving the feasibility study, noted that the rail system will be integrated with the plan on national road network.
There's a provision of 280 million in the 2014 FCT statutory appropriation for the project.
We want to run away from the previous practice where contracts are awarded on the basis of conceptual design. This time around we are coming with the engineering design, with the BEME and the bill of quantities before we go to tender. You are aware we are executing the lot 1 and 3, and we have gone 60%. Everything about the project is on course in terms of the financial plan. What we are doing now is to start building the stations, 13 number, that is going to be used by the passengers. And today we are also directed or asked whether we can open some portions of the light rail that we are building. And it is answered in the affirmative, because except we finish the cutting of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Expressway, we will not be able to really connect it with the city center.
Lots 1 and 3 of the Abuja Rail Mass Transit Network have been completed. Lot 2 of the rail project network from Nyanya to Kubwa and the city center will soon commence. The feasibility study will cover Kuje to Kashi for the Lot 4, while Lot 5 takes care of commuters from Kubwa to Buhari. Commuters from airport to Kuje all the way to Gwagwalada and beyond will be covered in the 6th lot. The Presidential Declaration Committee set up for President Jonathan's second term bid stands dissolved as President Jonathan appealed to political office seekers at all levels to play by the rules. The President made the appeal while hosting members of the Declaration Committee to a get-together. The President, who expressed profound gratitude to all members of the committee and the sub-committees for the success of his declaration to run for President for another 4 terms, pleaded with political office seekers at all levels to play according to the rules and not make their ambition a do or die.
Because the gap between PDP and others is astronomical. The way we do things and the way they do things is very different. The way we talk and the way they talk is very different. The way they reason is very different. Our commitment to transform this country and their thinking about Nigeria is very different. And I promise you, my party men and women, and indeed all Nigerians, that with your support, collectively we must move this country to where we want to.
Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan will travel to London later today to preside over a meeting of the Nigeria's Honorary International Investment Council, which opens on Friday. Deliberations at the meeting in London will focus on the current investment landscape in Nigeria, development and opportunities in the ongoing upgrade and expansion of Nigeria's public infrastructure, as well as opportunities and reforms in Nigeria's rail transportation, power and construction sectors. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity said President Jonathan will be accompanied by key ministers, including the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Minister of Petroleum Resources, Trade and Investments, as well as Power and Defense. They will be joined at the meeting by the coordinator of HTTC, Baroness Linda Choka, and other key members of the council. Jonathan is expected back in Abuja on Sunday. The Senate has again failed to reach a consensus on the planned extension of the state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states by the federal government. The Senate members in a closed-door session, which lasted for over 2 hours, had argument for and against the extension of the emergency rule in 3 northern eastern states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, as requested by the president.
Many of us are opposed to it. I believe that we should explore other avenues.
The problem is escalating. Borno State now has the highest refugee camp, I believe, in Africa.
What is the alternative for now? Especially that the thing is expiring tomorrow. Can anybody come out to say that the celebrated hunters can take charge of the situation?
The lawmakers resolved to summon the service chiefs for fact-finding on the security situation in the states and mandated the Senate president to liaise with the governors of the affected states before any decision is taken.
First and detailed discussion, and we will continue the discussion. The Senate also resolved that we will invite the service chiefs to appear before the Senate.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Waziri Tambol, acting on Section 305, subsection 2 of the Constitution, has reconvened a special session of the House, which ordinarily was supposed to resume on the 3rd of December. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Waziri Tambol, has directed all lawmakers to reconvene to consider the extension of the emergency rule. It is not certain what the special plenary will look like, as speculations arrive that the Speaker's defection might take prominence. Leadership of the All Progressives Congress APC has urged Nigerians, especially party members, to ensure participation in the continuous voter registration and distribution of permanent voters' card by INEC as key for free and fair 2015 general elections. This was the central message of the party's first sensitization rally planned ahead of the elections. The APC Lonoyegun said the objective is to state the party's position on national issues such as the INEC continuous voter registration and distribution of permanent voters' cards.
The ability to vote is your right. Insist on your PVC. Go out, make the sacrifice.
No alternative. Make sure you get your permanent voters card.
If Ghana can organize free and fair elections, Nigeria should.
First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan has challenged the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, to ensure that those at the rural areas, particularly women, be carried along. The First Lady made the challenge while receiving the new activated National Identity Card. She commended the Commission for living up to the challenge of President Jonathan to transform Nigeria.
Try to make sure that every woman in this country gets it. Please go to the grassroots, go to the states and go to the local governments and to the wards to make sure that size the women.
That is the latest development from our newsroom. It is now time to go back to Claire and Kingsley for the continuation of Good Morning Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much there, Ronke. This is Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Business news is next after this break.
President, good luck for Nigeria. President Jonathan, do us better. From the east to the west to the north and south, yeah. From the east to the west to the north and south, yeah.
Youth empowerment, you give us employment, rail transport, now you give to us good healthcare, everything they want. Women development, we thank God. I make us support, good luck, Jonathan.
He don't do us better. 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 He don't do us better.
He don't do us better. Okay. Now good luck, Jonathan. President, good luck.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Done for One Vision, Nigeria.
What's going on? Bros, you don't know. Take one. It's like just introduce one sharp free data and smartphone offer. Say the brother.
Hello? Oh boy, they will knock you up to 1.5 gigabyte data when you buy the smartphone. Plus double any data when you load way past 200 MB for the next 12 months.
No waste time, oh. With Chikili money, you save it and enjoy sharp browsing with Techno Phantom Z, R7, and other special techno phones them.
Etisalat, now you're talking.
Just a quarter cup of jig in the water will get school uniforms whiter, and it is the tough stain fighter that will get your whites much brighter. Just Chickens! Pot puree and lemon. Just Chickens! Hey, you better go get it! Now available in lemon and pot puree fragrances, the newest and freshest way to jig it.
The Dettol and Ministry of Health team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases.
Do you know what germs are? They are tiny, harmful, living things that you pick up from dirty surfaces. These germs can make you ill and prevent you from doing all the things you like to do with friends. That's why you need to fight them by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Mom, today we learned how to fight germs with Dettol soap.
All right, we'll take off with business as usual. Now, stock prices have again gone southwards with a 2.15% loss in the market main indicator after Wednesday's trading, as speculations are rife over possible cut in outputs by OPEC. Brent crude gained 0.4% point also on Wednesday. Shikola Ikbenaye is on Business News.
Good
morning and welcome to Business News. We'll begin today's business with the developments in the Nigerian capital market. After gaining some momentum last week, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has started to nosedive again. On Wednesday, the market lost 2.15% points and the market all-share index to close at 34,145.79 points after recording a 1.67% loss on Tuesday. Let's see how transaction went in the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Wednesday. And still talking about crude oil, Brent oil advanced on Wednesday amid speculation that OPEC may reduce output at a meeting next week to bolster prices. West Texas Intermediate fell after an industry report showed a U.S. crude stockpile gain. And Morgan Stanley analyst Adam Longson said in a report that the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries is increasingly likely to cut production when ministers gather in Vienna on November 27. Libya's OPEC governor Samir Kamal said the 12-member group should cut output by 500,000 barrels a day. U.S. crude supplies rose 3.7 million barrels last week, according to the industry-funded American Petroleum Institute, Bain Energy. Brent for January settlement rose 32 cents, representing 0.4% at $78.79 a barrel on the London-based ICE Futures Europe Exchange. On that note, we round off business news. I am Shikiola Ikpena. You do have a wonderful business day.
Okay, well, thank you very much there for the business package. Next is newspaper review. Bayo Atoyobe is right here with us for today's edition of Newspaper Review. Bayo, welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you, Kinsley. Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay, we begin our review with the Nigerian pilot, and the lead story has a kicker: emergency rule extension. Senate summons service chiefs. Details are to be found on page 4. And just above that story, below the name flag, is a story that says 2015 will form parallel government if, that's according to the APC. Details are to be found on page 12. And states demand $2 billion from excess crude account. That's on the front page of the Nigerian pilot. And the news copies promoted on the front page include the following: Army arrests 4 commanders for deserting troops. And PDP begins screening of senators and reps. And Fintiri borrowed 5.5 billion naira in 86 days. That's according to Governor Ngilari. And Nigerian licensed ship owners petition FG over expatriate quota. Details are on page 47. And CJN Mohammed steps in as Mukhtar retires today. And the next paper is, of course, the National Mirror. National Mirror has a story that says troops reclaim Adamawa towns and has 2 riders killed 400 terrorists and seize weapons. And deadlock in Senate over state of emergency. Well, on the front page there are photographs of the troops with one of the captured weapons during combat with insurgents in Gumbi, Hong and Pelea towns in Adamawa State yesterday. On the right side of that, the photograph you are seeing there is said to be a cache of arms and ammunition seized from the terrorists. Also, the National Mirror is their second lead story, just below the photograph there that says, Bamanga Tukur asks court to reinstate him as PDP chairman. And Ondo local government chairman seek to join suit Against Party and a boycott meeting with Governor Mimiko. Details to be found on pages 2 and 8. Also there, Kwara Shopee beneficiaries protest unpaid stipends. Details are on page 51. And Health Workers Union orders more members to down tools. Details are to be found on page 4. But above the nameplate of the National Mirror are two stories. Federal government proposes 4.66 trillion naira budget for 2015, and with a rider, CBN to decide on naira devaluation next week. Also on the front page, there are civilian JTF to provide security as Borno schools resume. Details are to be found on page 4. Daily Trust, of course, Daily Trust, Newswatch, and The Sun, they have an advert that takes up a great deal of their front page, each of their front pages, and of course, it's a congratulatory message to Mr. President on his birthday today. But we'll go to the inside pages of pages 6 and 7. We'll just take a few stories from pages 6 and 7 of Daily Trust. Can 6 UN help against insurgency? That's on page 6 of Daily Trust. Can 6 UN help against insurgency? And also on the on page 7 of Daily Trust, high security in reps ahead today's special session. The details are there. And 10 billion naira jet, court fixes December 17 for judgment. And then calm returns to Lafia after peace talks. Those are the stories that we are taking in the meantime from the inside pages of Daily Trust. But just one last one, actually, from page 8. Massive turnout of pupils as Borno schools resume. Massive turnout of pupils as Borno schools resume. That's for Daily Trust. Then also, Daily Sun, as I said, has a wraparound advert congratulating Mr. President on his birthday. But we'll go to the inside pages, one of the inside pages, on 7 also, of Daily Sun. In the meantime, one of the stories will be taken from page 7. It's page 7 of Daily Sun. UI renews commitment to postgraduate studies. University of Ibadan renews commitment to postgraduate studies. DSS arrests alleged killers of Bayelsa Electoral Commission's scribe. And also on page 7 there, it's a story that says TAN 2015, TAN comments ECOWAS on inspection tour of Nigeria. And excuse me, please. Newswatch, Daily Newswatch Times. We'll go to one of the inside pages. Page 8 of Newswatch Times. Courts can't be reformed without adequate funding, says new CJN. And also on that page, insurgency. Senate seeks amendment of Electoral Act for displaced persons. That's the much that we can take in the meantime from the Newswatch Times. Claire?
Okay, let's start off with The Guardian. And the Senate again fails to agree on emergency rule in the Northeast. And it writes, it resumes debate today. Northern governors back extension. Troops recover more territories in Adamawa. And there are other trending stories at the bottom there. Pro-Biafra members remanded in prison, and how to get 2015 polls right by INEC ex-chief Iwu. Nigeria out of AFCON 2015, draw 2-2 with South Africa. These are all trending at the bottom there. But another story on the front page, just above the masthead, APC leaders protest against alleged impunity and non-release of Chibok girls. Jonathan urges PDP supporters to close ranks, says opposition can't beat us. And then other trending stories on the front page, just on the left column there. Yes, governors sabotage judiciary, says new CJN. Details on page 3. And how to check medical tourism by Gowon and others on page 3. And police suspect sabotage in the synagogue's building collapse, also on page 3. And there are also other stories trending on the inside page. The blueprint leads with emergency rule Senate summons service chiefs. Details are on page 8. And it writes with military option not enough. This is coming from Giadam. And there a picture story of a column of patrol vehicles advancing during military operations in Gombe, Pelia and Hong towns in Adamawa State, where the troops are said to have recovered the towns from Boko Haram insurgents and inflicted several destruction, destroyed their vehicles, hideouts, weapons and ammunitions. And we turn to New Telegraph. New Telegraph leads with Army Hunters Liberate Adamawa Towns. It is on page 5. And Northern Governors back emergency rule extension. Senate summons service chiefs, all on the front page now. And their picture story there is that of the leadership and, of course, presidential aspirants of the APC, or Progressive Congress, their rally in Abuja yesterday. And just below that, the story there is APC to federal government. You've messed up the economy. Jonathan seeks approval for revised budget. And just to take you just below the masthead, another story that's trending on the front page. Anxiety over Tambuwal as reps resume. That is on page 7. And airfares to rise as operators lament Naira's depreciation. There you have it. And finally, I'll take leadership. Leads with military, local hunters, recapture Gombe and Hung. Details on page 5. Recover arms and ammunition and advance to Mubi. And you have a picture story there of the scenes of military operations as the army and local fighters recaptured the towns yesterday. And other stories trending on the front page, just below the masthead. Abuja Walk Rally. Jonathan will not organize credible poll. This is coming from the APC. Details are on page 4. Kingsley, you have other papers?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, Bayo.
Thank you very much, Claire. Well, the collaboration between the vigilante group, the hunters, and the soldiers are beginning to yield results. Gumbi, Pela, and Hong have been liberated, and currently they are mopping up operations going on, and indications are that they are heading towards Michika to get rid of them from that axis too. Meanwhile, the Adamawa State government also restricted movement so as to not to impede the mop-up operations about the soldiers. They are now heading towards Michika. And in their process, the insurgents were said to have visited Hong with anger because most of the hunters who volunteered to get them out of Mubi actually originated from Hong. So they went there with vindication. Also, a lecturer in the College of Education, Hong, suspected to be a member of the insurgents, has been apprehended. On the issue of state of emergency, the Senate could not reach a decision yesterday, but in furtherance of their discussion, they have now invited the service chiefs. The House of Rep is also breaking its recess. They were supposed to have resumed in December 3rd, but they will be resuming today. And issue of state of emergency is there. And indications are that they will have heated debate and probably dramatic sessions today. But one is bound to appeal to our compatriots, senators and members of House of Rep, when looking at the issues of the nation, particularly in the critical time that we are facing insurgency and a war, to wear their cap and headgears and hats of patriotism and leave their partisan spectacles at home, because they put the premium importance of our nation and its survival at the first burner. Synagogue, evidence yesterday by a police in the that the mysterious aircraft that hovered over the collapsed building was a C-130 Air Force training aircraft. The police officer that gave investigation also suspected, according to his own deductions, that the way the building went down looked like a controlled demolition, and therefore it's very suspicious. And he was also giving evidence that visitors to that place could have been a suspect. He, however, said that they could have used chemical weapons or explosive material, but he has no proof. He also did not rule out that the building could have collapsed from defective construction. On the budget has been slashed, and the reasons are not far-fetched. You recall that when the budget was actually constituted, it was based on an oil price of $77, and the oil price had already gone far below that. So in reconstituting the budget with $73, the new budget now will have to come down from 4.81 trillion to 4.66. The Federation Account Allocation Committee is already demanding about $2 billion to be withdrawn from the excess crude account for distribution. This is intended to boost up security and also activities that is geared towards the elections. CJN, congratulations to Mr. President. Today is his birthday, and congratulations also to the CJN of Nigeria, Mariam Aluma Mukhtar, who is completing her tour of duty to the nation in the service to the judiciary and to our fatherland. She came in about 28 months ago, and when she first came in, she made about 139 petitions about complicity about judges, and she was able to deal with them. In her tenure, 7 judges were sent packing, and she also received another 150 petitions, and currently 15 of them are under processing. She also pointed out during her tenure that some judicial workers are in complicity with some lawyers to undermine the process of judiciary. So one wish to say congratulations to her, and particularly that as an Amazon, she exemplified that symbol of justice. You have the woman with the blindfold and dispensed justice. AFCON, Claire, you remember I was being mathematical yesterday. I saw the 3 goals in the first half. Unfortunately, they didn't go into the net. We ended up with 2-2 and we draw, and unfortunately, Nigeria is not going to be at AFCON. The lessons to learn from here is to go back to our domestic league. Our charity in football should begin at home. Many Nigerians, including even Kingsley, did probably have forgotten that our league ended just last week, the 38th week. And in the league, we had Kano Pillars coming tops of the league, followed with, I think it was 65 points, with Eimba coming second with 64 points. But most of the time, our people tend to tell you about what is happening with Manchester United, and we forget our own domestic league. And it even reflected in the World Cup. You saw that though England says they have the best league in the world, how far did they go in the World Cup? We talk about the La Liga, how far did Spain go in the World Cup? But if you look at Germany and Holland that did very well, they have a robust league domestically, and most of their players play within their country, within their league. And that was the basis for the strength of their league. And therefore, to go back to the drawing board, not as we have done in the past, but to actually draw on the board and design a philosophy of football for our nation and begin to build a way forward. We are not going to be at Equatorial Guinea, and it's the second time we are not being at Equatorial Guinea. But if we plan well, I think Nigerian football will come from the ashes again.
If an architect or a draftsman spends all the time at the drawing board trying to design your structure, when will the house be built? That's the question to ask. Every time, go back to the drawing board.
Yes, this time we must draw.
When are you therefore going to build that structure that is solid for our soccer? A few things. I mean, I have my personal views on this, and I mean, those of us who follow soccer for a very long time would know there are tactical deficiencies in the team, and there is need for self-improvement. We had here one of Nigeria's finest goalkeepers in the past, Peter Rufai, Dodo Mayana, and one of the questions I asked him when we were discussing was the training programs and the courses you attended in Europe, who paid for them? He said he paid out of his pocket. If you are not studying, if you are not reading, you will remain in the analog age. And you could see that yesterday, again, in the performance of the Super Eagles. It was there, it was clear during the World Cup. So why we keep going back to the drawing board? When will the structure be built? Claire?
Kingsley, I don't know whom, to whom you are portioning the blame now. I think it's just the system. It's the system that needs to be looked into, because when the system, there's a fault in the system, it affects every other part.
Yes, building
yes.
an institution.
Yes.
And that is why we have to start from having a philosophy of football from the scratch, from the under 13, under 15, under 17, under 23, and up to the Super Eagles.
That's
we
right.
need to have that.
All right, Bayo, we thank you for coming again this Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. We hope to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. It's reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now.
From us light, give us food, give us house, give us school with good Lord Jonathan. Our country don't better, oh, hey.
This message is brought to you courtesy Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria. Down for One Vision, Nigeria.
Bros, you don't know. Take one, it's like just introduce one sharp free data and smartphone offer. There you go now.
Hello? Oh boy, they will knock you up to 1.5 gigabyte data when you buy the smartphone. Plus double any data when you load way past 200 MB for the next 12 months.
No waste time, oh. With Chikili money, you save it and enjoy sharp browsing with Techno Phantom Z, R7, and other special techno phones them.
Etisalat, now you're talking.
I need a great deal, the best price I can get. That's why I shop on Jumia. Quality you can trust. You can count on us. Shopping easier. Fashion delivery. When you shop on Jumia, when the rain or shine.
Get this Benetton fan at an amazing price of 5,490 naira at jumia.com.ng. Jumia, the online shop you can trust.
The Dettol and Ministry of Health team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases.
Do you know what germs are? They are tiny, harmful, living things that you pick up from dirty surfaces. These germs can make you ill and prevent you from doing all the things you like to do with friends. That's why you need to fight them by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Mom, today we learned how to fight germs with Dettol soap.
All right, now let's start our conversation as usual on, of course, the request for extension of emergency rule in 3 northern states of Yobe, Borno, and Adamawa due to continued activities of the Boko Haram group. It expires today, really. And President Goodluck Jonathan has officially written to the National Assembly for another extension, the second time. Now, if approved, it will be for the 3rd time the rule will be extended. In this background report, Usman Mohammed Minjibur reminiscence on the state of emergency rule in the 3 states so far.
The affected states, it has become necessary for government to take extraordinary measures to restore normalcy. I hereby declare a state of emergency.
That was President Goodluck Jonathan when he first declared emergency rule in the 3 states of Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa on May 14, 2013. Over the continued activities of members of the Boko Haram sect. In a nationwide broadcast, Jonathan had invoked Section 305, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. It says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the President may by instrument published in the official Gazette of the Government of the Federation issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the Federation or any part thereof. The President, however, announced that regardless of the state of emergency imposed, the political structures in the affected states would remain intact. Since the first declaration of 6 months, the emergency rule had been extended twice. The 3rd tranche of 6 months expires today. Following continued violence in the state in spite of the emergency rule, there have been calls for sacking of the state governors to pave way for the appointment of military administrators.
There should be a total state of emergency, not only in Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno, where a senior military or retired military officer will be appointed until the war is over, who will be communicating with Mr. President directly.
But for some, the partial emergency rule should not be extended, not even talk of full-scale one.
The best approach now is not to extend. This important is that the bilateral relationship on bringing in this military assistance must be clearly defined.
Has the emergency solved the problem? Is there peace there now?
The federal government has resolved to extend the state of emergency in the 3 states for the 3rd time. As the Constitution provides, the President had sent a letter to the National Assembly seeking the approval of the lawmakers for an extension of the emergency rule. In it, the president said the security challenges that necessitated the proclamation are yet to abate. Whether the three states of Borno, Yobe and Adamawa will spend another round of 6 months under the emergency rule or not will to a great extent be determined by the lawmakers' approval or rejection of the president's requests.
Okay, thank you there, Minjibri, for that background. Joining us in the studio is the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Barrister Joseph Daudu, who is a senior advocate. SAN, welcome once again to Good Morning Nigeria. We had you some months ago on some other issue, some other topic. There's some debate raging, as it were, in the National Assembly, whether or not to approve the president's request for the further extension of the state of emergency in the 3 northern states. Let's look at the constitutional and legal implications of a state of emergency, particularly in the context where it is clear and to all and sundry that the insurgents are levying war against the country.
Well, your initial statement and the documentary by Minjibur showed clearly that the president is empowered by proclamation in a gazette to declare a state of emergency. But it doesn't end there. The National Assembly, that is the House of Representatives, and the Senate must, by a certain margin of majority, within 10 days if they are not sitting and 2 days if they are sitting, approve the proclamation. If not, it automatically lapses. Now, there are a lot of dynamics. This is a matter entirely within the political calculation